Hello everyone, I'm Forrest McFreelava, and this is Let's Play Papal Italy number 21. We left off with the war still soldiering on. We've attempted to make peace with the Chinese, however, they will not accept either of our two war goals. We're definitely going after India, and sorry Mongolia, but it's just not that important. China is now a fascist dictatorship, interestingly enough, and it looks as though they're down to 51 brigades. And let's see, 30 brigades for the Russians, and let's take a look, 163 from the British. Now, okay, that's clearly not accurate though. How many brigades? 51? Alright, so that would be 150,000 Chinese troops left. If that's the case, then that means we're really almost done. And I'm not even going to make a war plan, as the war plan is now to just keep marching deeper into the wastes of the countries we're attempting to occupy. And let's see, that's about 67,000 Chinese troops. We'll just attack with a big group, as large as we can get, given the circumstances. And we're just going to keep taking our forces forward, always further and beyond. We might even reach the actual entry of China proper in the very near future. So that will be interesting. We'll leave that really weakened army behind and just continue to bring our forces forward. Iraqi nationalists are taking over the capital of the Ottoman Empire and will probably get their freedom in the fairly near future. We are fabricating our claim against Egypt. It will take around 500 days. Moldavia has been annexed by the Romanians, which, you know, I mean, decently looking. Not the best borders, but, I mean, I guess it's not that horrible. Slightly better than without. So hopefully Romania will declare war on Wallachia. Worst case, we'll wait until we get jingoism and we'll just annex them ourselves. That would look a little crummy, although not so very crummy that I would get upset or anything. It looks as though we did just win a battle against some Chinese forces. I'm not entirely sure where that occurred, although I guess that isn't the most important thing. It looks as though we lost the occupation of Gao? Still not really entirely sure how to pronounce that. We'll just hold out a position in British India, and maybe even go pick up a few additional troops from Africa, or maybe even from Anatolia. Although I'm not really sure we want to risk our navy doing something like that. We could just split this army apart, and let's see. I mean, that looks like a decently sized army. We'll just give them a couple more infantry groups, and we'll just say that that's a good army. We'll bring it over to be picked up, and hopefully just brought to India, and then just annex them. So our forces will continue the great march forward. Our grand march, as it were. That is Xinjiang, which we do not actually have a war against. So we're going to just flood into China from wherever we possibly can. And yeah, that is the main goal right now, is we will just march through the Chinese territories. It looks as though we are being attacked in India. We'll just go and counter them. A bunch of occupations are being finished. Really, at this point, we are just in the mopping up stages of this war. I was really convinced that we would have to do some really serious in-depth fighting against the Chinese, although it looks as though their armies all came out to fight us before, and they've been swiftly dealt with. So we don't really have to worry too much at all about them. Now that's, I guess, good news, slightly anticlimactic news, although we are just pressing forward, so I guess it doesn't matter all that much. We'll go after their capital, hopefully not have to occupy their entire countryside, although it is possible. The socialists are in charge of our country once again, so we'll go ahead and upgrade all of these factories, make sure everything is being subsidized, and let's see, can we switch? We'll switch back to the fascist party and hold another election. So our people are really getting to the point of being fairly upset. Our mission to Egypt was slowed down, which is terrible news. Luckily, we do have a militaristic faction in charge of our country, so that is sped up still, 350 days as opposed to 500, even slowed down. The Japanese are attacking us, although they don't really matter all that much. And hopefully Iraq will get its freedom in the next few months, which would be great news. We'll continue and hopefully succeed in our fabrication against the Egyptians, and then probably fabricate against Iraq if we have the time, and just go and annex them. Which would be kind of nice. A little rude to the poor Iraqis who would have just gotten a state. But, I mean, you know, not everyone can get a state. Our forces continue to march forward through the, I guess just Siberian wastelands and everywhere else, in what promises to be a rather quick and more or less straightforward series of occupations. And we could even just march straight onto their capital with this army, and in fact we'll do that. I'm not really sure what we are waiting for. These armies we will march up to destroy that British army, and then flow around, and hopefully just occupy some various territories. The first Chinese proper province has been sieged, or has been occupied, and we will now march deep into the Chinese heartland, where I assume they will be pretty ready to make peace. Just because nobody really likes their country getting occupied, and I can't imagine fascist China is any different in that regard. Tensions dissipate, awesome, that's probably going to be one of the few instances. Looks as though the Chinese are dealing with some rebel problems. Their army is even smaller now. Let's see. They will still not accept even a reasonable peace deal. Why not? Because we need to take all of the Mongolian core regions. Let's see, we are patriots. Yes, we are. Great news. What should we do? We could annex Wallachia. In fact, we can also probably take Slavonia. Add war goal, acquire state, Slavonia. We'll only take Slavonia then. Let's see. Our peace deal with the Ottomans is worth 99, so we'll probably just have to peace out with them in the near future. Can we annex Wallachia? We can. So we'll just annex them, separate peace them, all that good stuff. And that's really all we can add, as, yeah, every other war is its own separate thing, and we've already got a 100% war score against the Chinese. And in fact, we're technically asking for a 170% war score, though we're really not asking for that. That was just our way to start the war. It was our justification, not our actual desire or anything like that. Because really, it's, sure, it's philanthropic to free the Mongolians, but it's pretty distant philanthropy. And we can't really be expected to get worked up by that, although apparently the Russians were. So we'll just keep moving right on through Mongolia, and I expect a peace deal will be offered fairly soon. White peace? No, you're not getting that, Wallachia. Maybe a while ago, but just not right now. And we'll wait until our diplomats come back, or maybe they'll all offer peace or whatever. It really remains to be seen what will happen, how we'll make these peace deals. But what isn't up in the air is that we will make peace for these various demands. We'll continue to intervene immediately, and I imagine the... Alright, so our armies are already occupying the Chinese capital, and they're fighting rebels also on their capital. So yeah, we're definitely at that stage in history where it's just going to be a series of constant revolts. No, Hungary, you're not getting that. I guess we will start proposing peace with these places. We have annexed Wallachia. That looks a little gross. We've also gotten Slavonia. We could maybe go after a province, although, nah, anything further would just look terrible. This itself is probably a little too much. Let's open all factories, subsidize all factories, expand all factories. We could probably make peace with the Ottomans. They would accept it for 99% war score. Let's... Oh wait, we were actually occupying their capital. Come on, Iraqi nationalists, do your thing. At any rate, we'll wait for the Iraqi nationalists, though. Hopefully they'll be done with their various nonsense before, before 1936. Ideally, early enough that we'll be able to annex them ourselves. Why did this army go one province further? I guess I must have given them that order. That was a mistake. Oh well, doesn't really matter too much. We'll just go occupy the Chinese capital. And we'll have to wait until a peace offer from the Indians shows up, where they offer us their full annexation. We're being attacked by a large British army in Britain proper, so we'll just bring our forces over to bear against them. And that reminds me that we do actually need to clean up the British Isles quite a bit. So we'll just send our forces around and about to do that. And the Ottomans have offered us peace. We're going to accept that eventually, just not right now. It looks as though there are Hungarian fascists. Hungary's probably going to become a fascist state. That's just really a given at this point. I really wish these Iraqi nationalists would just rove on over a little bit. Start taking lands they can actually hope to get. You know, take over the Ottoman capital and enforce their demands. But whatever. We can't really force them. Although it would be very nice if we could. Alright, various places are falling. It looks as though we can burn the Summer Palace. And yeah, unfortunately we're just gonna lose that. We won't even try to defend Crete. I'm rather sad that our navy ended up underperforming to the extent that it did in this campaign. Although, I guess it doesn't matter all that much, seeing as we are going to win. It's just a bit of a bummer. And hopefully we don't have to just occupy everywhere in the world for so very long. Even the Spanish are attacking the British now. I have no idea what for. Perhaps it's part of their war against France. In fact, that would be the most sensible thing. They're definitely not going after Gibraltar. Alright, let's see. China will still not accept our most reasonable offers. How terrible of them. And why is the war score so low? We still need to occupy Mongolia. We've nearly gotten it, though. I'm not entirely sure the full extent of Mongolian claims and cores or whatever. Although it would really seem as though we would be almost done with that by now. What would we do if we burnt the Summer Palace down? I guess we would just give them, or we would just get some infamy? Alright, why not? Torching of the Summer Palace. Sorry, China, for all this history you're going to lose right now. But, yeah, I don't know, you're being a bit of a hassle. I mean, This is actually the first time, that was actually a bit of a bad thing to do just then. Gain foreign militancy or become more socialist. I guess we'll let them be socialist. Socialism isn't a crime yet. We're not fascists just yet. So we'll let our people be socialist. We're probably going to have to get ready pretty soon for some sort of just sort of violent doom era to come about, where we're just fighting constant civil wars. I've been really hyping that at this point for quite some time now. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to happen or not. It just seems like it's fairly likely. Oh yes, the Iraqi nationalists are in the Ottoman capital. That is great news. Who are these people? Georgian nationalists? Alright, do your thing, I don't really care. Our armies are still just roving about through the Chinese provinces. We've destroyed quite a bit of their history, and Nah, I'm not going to say I'm sorry for it. If I was going to, then I wouldn't have done it. Alright, we can annex India. Please. Please, world. We control all of these rightfully Mongolian territories. We should be able to make peace and demand them. It is starting to... Fulfilled in 66%. Mongolia acquires all states with cores. Where else do they have cores on? Because they have cores on all of this. This is all Mongolia. Whoops. Let's see. Mongolia. No Mongolia. Yeah, that's weird. I guess, do they spread further over this way? Do they spread into Russia? I sure wish I knew more about the people I'm ostensibly trying to free right now. Are we at war with all of these people? Or just a few? Well, I guess this isn't anything that can't be solved by just marching into more Chinese territory and hoping for the best, so we're going to march into more Chinese territory and just keep hoping for the best. Pretty straightforward plan, pretty straightforward act. And we'll just keep this peace deal up and ready to go. Conquest against Egypt was discovered, and it cost us quite a bit of infamy, which means that it's still quite a ways away, probably around halfway, I would imagine. Alright. And our troops are just continuing to siege down, or occupy down the Chinese. It seems as though we're getting rather laggy, which isn't the ideal thing. We might also have to siege out India, now that we have formally requested that India be part of the peace deal. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, though, as that hadn't been indicated at all so far. And it looks as though Irish nationalists are taking over the entirety of Ireland, which is pretty neat. We'll go slide this peace deal over into the corner, and hopefully the Iraqi nationalists will be able to enforce their demands in the coming days or weeks. Evidently, our economy is taking quite a significant downturn, which is at least moderately worrying. Although we're not taxing our rich to the fullest extent we'd be capable of, so it isn't that big of a deal. If we were taxing everybody to max and also hemorrhaging money, that's when we would really have some concerns. How's the war going? 59%. Fulfilled in 80 or 76%? Alright, why not? And, okay, so battles, we're getting all these bonuses from. It seems as though, yeah, we will eventually mash up to just full. Let's see. We're going to have to just hold another election without switching governments, and once that's done, we'll just switch back to fascists, and I don't see any reason to hold another election ever again. And we'll just let the fascists control our country until it just ultimately fades into the future. I'm still very confused by what provinces we need to take and have yet to take. It's a bit odd, and I guess not ultimately the most important thing to figure out, as we are starting to get ticking war score in our favor. Maybe that just means maybe it's ticking until we get it fully in our favor or something. Who's really to say? At any rate, we can make peace whenever we want to. It's just a matter of deciding when we want to. Iraqi nationalists now control the government of Iraq. Hopefully they will enforce their demands and get their freedom. I'm rooting for you, Iraq. Let's see. We are 180-something days away from our justification being ready against Egypt. Thanks a lot, liberals, for just ruining our country. Suddenly that complaint makes more sense to me. as dumb and awful as that is. Seriously though, they're ruining our war. Those jerks. Them and their caring about things that really shouldn't matter if you just want your country to be prestigious and awesome. You know, without looking into anything else. But okay, I'm just dithering now. That's because this is just a whole lot of occupation. What a terrible finale if this is going to be the finale, if I'm just dithering constantly. So let's instead consider where we're at right now, where the world is at. The Russians are apparently facing some minor to major rebellions. I'm not sure where exactly it lies. Pretty minor, it looks like. Let's go and just, like, occupy this. It looks as though the Japanese are attacking us, which is an interesting and very poor choice on their part, as we apparently don't have very much of a dig-in bonus, surprisingly. Oh, there it goes. That's weird that it switched and went up. Did it go up, or am I just totally losing it right now? I'm not sure. Whatever, it doesn't matter too much. We've defeated the Japanese. We did not stack wipe them, although we do have a group moving in to intercept China looks to just be falling apart right now. Long live Italy, we get a core. Wow, still not quite there. Fulfilled 100%, so daily it is starting to tick over in our favor. Now we can't bring our troops home because we made peace with the Hungarians, so we're just kind of going to leave that where it is right now. May as well get a lot of socialists in the upper house, not that it'll really matter. Our country is fully reformed. Life is just as awesome as it could ever possibly be. I guess people are maybe upset by the constant strife. I mean, that's just an assumption, but it's probably a fair one. Well, good news to the people of our country. The constant strife is nearly over. And it looks as though the Austrians are getting fought by the North Germans. I wonder what they want. Liberation of Bohemia. Acquire Bohemia and Schlesien. Which is... Where is Schlesien? Oh, please, God, not somewhere disgusting. Oh, Italian fascists are rising up. That's interesting. Well, Africa... Oh, yeah, so... Everywhere that we've taken recently, funny enough, is going to be outrageously fascist. The reason for that being, we've been bullying their countries for years now. So they all are very fascist because of just how upset they are by, I guess, the position of their culture in the world today. So all of these minority peoples in these all of these peoples whose lands these technically were up to about, a few years ago, are still really, really fascist. Which is weird, because if fascists take over the state, we're going to strip them of basically all of their rights. So it's very interesting that minorities stay fascist, even when a fascist state in this instance would probably not really be too supportive of their existing in it. But hey, who am I to judge? We've been pushing for a bit more fascists this whole time, and these are just one of the many series of revolts we're likely to face. And really, it doesn't matter how many men are in these rebellions, they're just not going to achieve anything. Look at these casualty counts, just how lopsided they are. Because we're just going to use gas attack everywhere, it doesn't matter to us. I mean, you can't even turn this off. You can't even, if you want to, make it so that your troops won't use gas attack on just piles of civilians. So yeah, I mean, welcome to Victoria 2 in the late game. It just becomes a repression simulator, even if you are pretending to be the most liberal democracy in the world. I mean, it's pretty brutal. At some point, you just cannot pass the reforms necessary to keep your people from doing this. And, yeah, so fairly lopsided these. Even with all these negative terrain modifiers, I mean, really, what are they going to do? They're all mainly irregulars, some occasional cavalry, but mainly irregulars. That's just not going to go any way but this. Meanwhile, all of these groups are hopefully taking care of their issues. It looks as though they are. Oh, no, I didn't mean to accept peace. Oh, I clicked it one too many times. Good thing I didn't annex India, or I would have been really sad and upset. Alright, that's not too terrible. We took everything that we wanted to take. We just lost 6,000 men to our rebels, 200,000 in one battle. Hopefully Iraq gets their freedom. That will really determine a lot of how I feel about that just happening. Where's our war justification at? Not quite there yet. And I guess our people are not very enthusiastic about the war anymore, as weird as that is. Oh, apparently southern Finland has been occupied and annexed by the Swiss. Or not Swiss, Swedes. Let's click through all of these. Okay, I'm not going to just spam hit enter anymore because that is too very dangerous to our objectives. We're getting attacked by a lot of rebels. That's fine. 77%. Hopefully they'll accept our peace deal now. Certainly they must. Still no. Still no for either of them. Wow, China. You really, really don't want to make peace. That is profound. Alright, at any rate, our forces are just going to keep going. There's nothing really to do other than that. We're already going to just get our war score eventually. The real question is just what the world's going to look like when we're done. And I can't really say how it will look with anything resembling certainty. What are these? Italian fascists. It looks like they managed to liberate Cyprus from whatever various countries controlled it. So that's good. And, yeah. It looks as though the British are becoming anarcho-liberals. We'll just let that happen. I don't really want to bother fighting that. Control the clergy through legislative means. And we'll slowly tick our way to victory. Looks like the election is finished. We'll go ahead and not hold any more elections. We'll just become fascists. Hooray us. And our Casus Belli generation speed has been increased. So 19 days and we'll be able to go to war with the Egyptians. Unfortunately, it looks as though the Iraqis overthrew the Ottoman government, and as part of the peace deal didn't actually have anything change, which is a tremendous bummer. The Ottoman Empire will continue to exist and just kind of look weird. Oh well. That would have happened no matter what, even if we had stayed at war with them. What are the Germans going after again? German liberation of Bohemia against Poland and Austria, so alright. We can go to war to annex Egypt. We will go ahead and do this now. Declare war, conquest. Let's march right on in. Let's take a look. Where's this war at? 80%. It should hopefully clean itself all the way up to 100% in the near future. Let's just go destroy this small group. Who else do we need to justify war against? Really nobody at this point. Can we declare war on them? Nah, we can't. We can't even justify a war. So it looks like they'll just manage to stay how they are. Alright, let's look at southern Finland. Gross. Alright. Back to the war. It looks as though the Egyptians managed to mobilize a bit. We'll just rove on in there and hopefully destroy that. Communist rebels are trying to overthrow the government. Let's real quick make sure they aren't. Okay, they're going for Rome. Hopefully we can beat them to that. It looks as though they're already partially through the siege, or the occupation, whatever you want to call it. We're going to bring this group of armies over to the capital, and this is really the moment of truth. Come on. Alright, now that we're actually fighting that, it doesn't matter. We will not become communist anytime soon. Sorry, communists. It's just not going to happen. That's great news for us, though. We'll make all of our guys automatically suppress these rebels. Hopefully they'll all calm down a bit. We have finished all of our researches, so that is great news. We no longer have to worry about research anymore. And in a moment we will finish our annexation of Egypt. And once that's done, we will have completely taken over all of Africa. I imagine most of it's going to be occupied by rebels. Let's take a look, in fact. Oh, wait, whoa, what is this? Mongolia? No, we don't want Mongolian freedom. That's not what this war was about. Let's do this. Let's get this final thing done. Let's close all of these battle updates. We don't need them anymore. What? Really? They won't accept that? Fine, whatever. We were so close. So very close. We'll just keep occupying their provinces. They'll eventually give in to our demands, our very reasonable demands. Everyone else will just keep moving. And we are going to go just right on into China, just take various random parts of their heartland until they give up, which I can't imagine will be very long now. We're being attacked by a large British army. I'm not even going to look at that. I don't really think it's much of a concern. All these updates that we have to manually click so we don't accidentally accept the Egyptian peace offer, or not the Egyptian, the Indian peace offer until we're very ready to do so. Close all of these individually. Don't want to mess that up again. Come on. Oh, this is kind of tedious. Ah, the tedium of gassing our people and all that. Egypt is annexed. Italian Africa is now amazing. The Ottoman Empire will sadly continue to putter on until the end of time. Mongolia, we do not want. Are they willing to accept a reasonable peace deal yet? They will accept. Alright, here's what we're doing. Step 1. India will acquire all of their territories in this peace. So let's watch. Alright, so, bam, step 1. India is now a thing. Step 2. With this click of this button, we become the masters of India. Let's take a quick look at our population. We have 241 million people, 60.46 adult males, and... Okay, that was a terrible drum roll, I'm so sorry. And with this, bam, Italian India. In one war, we've turned all of British India into Italian India. Our population has jumped up by half, and we can create a couple states. So we'll go ahead and just do that. And there we go, Italian India. We could probably go to war with places like Mysore to just conquer them. We'll probably only get Mysore done because, you know, the end of the game's coming up pretty soon. But there we go. We are now India. And let's take a look at the ledger. Let's take a look at total population. 375 million adults. Or no, 375 million people. We are the largest state in the world, larger than China and the United States put together. Aren't we just so awesome? We're not going to flood India with troops because, let's be honest, it's probably going to become a cesspool of rebellion. And that sounds pretty awful. So we'll just flood the area with all of the armies that we had in China and get ready for a few calm years of fighting all of our people to the bitter end. All of these armies will just sort of drag select across all of the wastes. It would probably be a good idea to put them all on automatic rebel suppression before we get them back home, although that's a bit of work and we're just going to drag them on over and fill as much territory as we can with just various armies where they will begin to more or less retire to a happy life of suppressing the countryside. All of these men can go oppress various places in Spain and the West. And yeah, it'll be a good, nice, peaceful-ish retirement for everybody. We'll just ensure that everyone gets a pretty decent spread on where they're going, so I hopefully don't accidentally send massive hordes of armies to the same place. Although, knowing my luck, I'll probably end up inadvertently selecting the same province multiple times, and end up just flooding those individual provinces with way too many men to extents that don't really make sense, and probably will be actively detrimental to our efforts. But maybe I'm just reading too much into it. We'll continue to just flood over into various parts of Africa where all sorts of revolts seem to be pretty constant. And there we go. Hopefully that's more or less everybody. Now let's just sit back and enjoy our splendor. We can go ahead and open all factories, subsidize all factories. We're probably going to have to deal with some pretty severe rebellions for the next little while. And yeah, that's just gonna happen. Ultimately, though, if we end it right here, then well, not right here, obviously, we'll take it at least to the end of the game, so December 35th or December 25th, I'm sorry. So we'll just take it to Christmas. We're the Papal State, that makes sense for us to do. And I guess we will go ahead and invade Mysore, just because, sorry Mysore, you drew the short stick. And someone noticed, but that doesn't matter too much. So yeah, I think we did fairly well. I mean, Austria is just getting terribly smashed apart, and we might want to go to a quick war against the Germans to just clean that up. Although we really can't do anything about it. I mean, we could, but it doesn't make much sense. Sadly, I thought that Irish army was ours for a moment. However, let's take a quick look. Ireland is free. How nice for them. It's terribly gross and depressing that Iraq didn't become free. We did everything we could to ensure Iraqi freedom, and it just was not enough. We'll go ahead and pick up these 42,000 men. We'll just stop them from going where they needed to go. That one can stay, whatever. We'll drop this group off in Cyprus to just clean that all up. Acquire Bohemia. Oh, come on, Germany. You just had to ruin it. We were so close. Well, let's see. You know, I would rather beat up the Germans one last time. Justify war. We'll go with free people. And hopefully get that all taken care of in the near future. All of these armies will stop going to whatever random places they were going to go, and get ready to do one final farewell invasion of the North German Confederation, just for old time's sakes. Texas is out of our empire, which probably means it's going to join the United States', let's just call it an empire because we can, in the near future. How terrible and sad. So in a way you could say that this is the beginning of our decline. I wouldn't think of it in such negative terms. Weirdly enough, there's a Democratic Party ruling the Kingdom of Texas. Or I guess not really ruling it. Let's see, what can we do with all of these places? Well, we may as well just start executing these troublemakers. We'll add Prussia back to our sphere of influence. Everything else just kind of stays where it's at. We'll start increasing relations to neutral, or from neutral, and all these places we still have weird amounts of influence in. And even if America got back up to its height of industry, which, let's take a look, they're nowhere even close to. They're less than half as industrious as they used to be. Lazies. Well, yeah, even if they got all the way back up, it wouldn't matter too much. We'll move our army so they're not just taking horrendous doom levels of attrition. The French are becoming just outrageously fascist. just terribly, unbelievably, irredeemably fascist. Look at that. 87% of the population, if not more, is fascist in every single state. That is just absurd. Even in Spain, which is shockingly not fascist, it's definitely going to be the era of fascist dictatorships. And even though I doubt we'll actually have enough time to fall to the fascists, that's still very interesting. Oh no! No, now they're even attacking Poland? I mean, it makes sense because Poland doesn't even have an army. Oh, well, what are they taking? Schlesien? I guess I really can't be too upset about them taking Schlesien, as weird of a province as that is to say. Oh well, the North Germans are making a bit of a comeback. We can't really begrudge them too much, as they did inadvertently show us that we could march into the now Republic of Britannia. We will continue to upgrade all of our factories, and open all factories and subsidize all factories. And let's take a look at our economy. We're paying almost $3,000 a day in industrial subsidies, but we're making so much more that it doesn't even matter. Also, what an interesting world that we take the taxes in by the day. But, you know, let's not even really concern ourselves with that. Rebels just sort of everywhere. Well, not everywhere, just in a few spots. It looks as though we did manage to land our army, or I guess I'm not sure how that army got there. It probably, oh, I see, it's an automatic rebel suppression, and it used the boats to just walk over. That's brilliant. I actually really like that. That's something I didn't even consider being feasible, but because the AI always loves to march troops onto boats, it did that for us. That's actually really nice. That's really, really nice. I totally approve of that. The Russians aren't very fascist, weirdly enough. Even the Germans aren't that fascist, except some of them. All the Austrian Germans, they're really fascist. Russia, despite not being fascist, looks as though it's probably going to fall to something or other. Italian fascists have risen up. Once again, despite being Italian fascists, I really expect them to just be, just fascists from the countries we've just recently taken over, and not really our fascists at all. Not that I would really claim them as our fascists, but, you know, whatever. You would think that they would be somewhat mollified by the fact that a fascist government rules the country right now, in the name of the infallible Pope. Who's to say? 54 days until we can just go romp on through into the North Germans. It looks as though Ukraine is trying to take Kiev, and that's just not going too well for them, which I'm kind of glad about because that would probably look terrible. There's no... Okay, no, the fascists haven't yet won in France, but oh wow! There are a million fascists under arms in France right now. What is their population? And that's just in that province. If we look at their population, that's 29 million people. So we have to divide that by 4 to get how many pops they have. So let's say 28 million, which would be 14.7. So 1/7 of the adult male population of France is in that province. That's pretty intense. I imagine they're going to become fascist. To look into my crystal ball and predict the present. And yes, there they are. The French are now a fascist dictatorship. Good for them, I guess. Oh, wow. I was right about India. So let's go ahead and begin a rebel hunt. We'll just send our armies to more or less mash up the place and turn everybody onto automatic rebel suppression, which they will do for really the rest of eternity. Interesting that they're all Italian fascists here. What is the demographics? I guess decently fascist. Not so very fascist, but decently so. The Ottoman Empire, still the Ottoman Empire, not even turning into Turkey. How rude. They're also still an absolute monarchy and all of that good stuff. Let's see, Prussia we'll go ahead and put back in our sphere and hopefully just beat up on the North Germans just one last time. In 18 days. I imagine we'll be able to win this war against them in a year. We'll even take these various armies. I hope they're at least somewhat reasonable. I just remember that we want to keep at least one small army on Rome at any given point to prevent unexpected political, reshuffling to occur. And Russia's really fallen apart now. Georgian nationalists intermixed with communists, intermixed with, I guess, reactionaries. All sorts of people are just taking this opportunity to just kind of punch at the Russian regime, which is almost certainly falling apart. We'll demand the strictest discipline from these people who are vaguely upset at us, because really we may as well just kind of push it into their minds that they're not equals. As terrible as that is. Declare war. Let's go ahead and free Austria in Bohemia, and we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll just march our armies right on across this border. They have 74 regiments, so not really anything even resembling a modern army. And all of our forces will just carry right on through. We'll march into there and then around. Our regular battle stacks appear to have merged into groups of 60,000 men wherever possible, just inadvertently, not really out of any planned move or shift. And yeah, oh wow, Sweden annexed Norway. So Sweden's on the warpath. I'm not sure when they released Norway, although I guess that doesn't matter too much. And this German army is doing fairly poorly, so that's good news for us. We'll just bring even more troops forward wherever we're able. And everyone will just move forward. So yeah, this is all going fairly straightforwardly, and this is definitely going to be the last episode in this campaign. I'll make a time lapse. We'll see how well it turns out. Victoria 2 time lapses can sometimes be a little underwhelming to, I guess, be a little bit political with that. Or, what's the phrase? I'm not sure what the right phrase is. Let's go ahead and just bring this army up and we'll have it wheel around somewhere else. We are being fought by a large group of Germans who are doing worryingly well against us. That is actually the last autosave we're going to have to wait awkwardly through. This group will go reinforce. This group will go right on over there. And this group will aid them. These groups will go reinforce and then wheel around. These guys will just go attack the German. And we are taking heavier losses than them. This might be the first war where we actually take more losses than our enemy, which is an interesting thought. Not really a great thought, but an interesting thought. And I imagine they'll be willing to make peace in the near future, if they're not already willing to make peace now. So let's actually take a look. Propose peace, they would not accept. Wow, huh. Pause this. And, you know, that actually doesn't look too bad. We might just leave them with these provinces that they've just stripped from the Polish. Yeah, you know, that looks kind of fine, to be honest. I guess we could take that one province, but it doesn't really matter all that much to me. Yeah, we'll just leave them. Or let's take a look. What are the regions? No, we'll leave them where they're at, unless Free People, Poland, Lithuania, Posen could maybe go to them. I'm not sure if that would look really terrible or just mediocre though. I shouldn't be dithering so much on this. It would kind of look alright, but also it would look really dumb in some other ways. Let's see what the nationality is. It's at least decently Polish. I mean, we may as well give it to them. Let's see, the peace deal's worth 38 right now. Add war goal, Free People, Poland, Lithuania, and Posen is 17. Yeah, we'll just throw it on there. Why not? Doesn't matter too much to us. Worst case, it looks a little dumb, but you know, the worst things have happened. There have been worse villains than dumb-looking borders. And alright, we'll just wheel these armies. Come on, there we go. Let's not go into that province needlessly. We'll just keep marching on through. This is a pretty short, concise war against a rather, what's the word for it? I guess compact country. So we don't really need to worry too much about anything. Just moving on through and making progress all the way. We do have a weirdly small number of armies in the field, which is moderately concerning, but not so very much. We'll bring some troops over. We might want to give up a couple of these occupations, just because it could be getting a little ridiculous. Although really not so much, and that's not too much of a concern anyway. I imagine they'll be offering us peace in the very near future. And you know what we could do to just ensure that it doesn't look too dumb, we could also give them Schlesien. We're at 55, and I guess we don't have any more war score to give, or to take. So it'll just have to be left where it is. Not that that's the worst thing. And our armies will just continue to rove on up and around. We're losing some pretty severe numbers of troops. So we'll take this group back and bring them home. Luckily the month didn't take over. We'll roll this army on up. It looks as though we're doing slightly well against the Germans, although we are losing a lot of men. Ultimately we can afford to pay in men and just kind of use more or less human wave tactics, as awful as that is. And as awful as they are and were historically. I guess the fact of the matter is that we've got more than enough people to do it and maintain it through the end of the war. Lazy natives need to adapt. Let's see, what's this? This is now 100-something thousand men. We'll just bring them up. And let's just charge up into here, hopefully destroy that German group. It looks as though they do have quite a few armies left, just roving on over in areas that we would really prefer them not to. And this will be fairly quick, at least. Maybe not the quickest, maybe not the greatest thing, but fairly quick. Fairly alright. This area will move around. And what are all these? North German fascists? Yeah, that makes sense. Catalonian nationalists? Interesting. Well, guys, you know what to do. We'll just storm right on through that. And I'm really surprised that the North Germans aren't offering us peace yet. But I guess there are still around 7 months, so it doesn't matter so much to us at the moment. Where are they going? Ossing. We will meet them. And North German fascists just all over the place. And other armies just roving on around and down. Alright. We've defeated an army. We're at probably over here. We'll go just meet with them. Sadly, they did reinforce over that short period of time. Looks as though we defeated that massive rebel stack. These armies will bring back up now that they've reinforced. And we'll leave one army behind to occupy the territory and bring the others around. And there we go. They've offered us peace. And we may as well accept it now and see what we can do and how this will look. Click. Alright, so yeah, not so bad. It basically looks like a slightly pushed away version of what Prussia used to look like. And that's kind of nice. It looks as though Moscow is still being held by the technically official Russian government. We'll just bring all these groups back to random places throughout the countryside. We'll just stack them in groups of 2 on each province, just to minimize the amount of provinces we actually have to send things to. And I fully expect that we will be peaceful until the end of the game from this point onward. And these groups will just split, so this group will go over there, and we'll just shuffle the rest over to the edge. And with that all said and done, we've essentially completed everything we've wanted to. Wallachian nationalists? How rude. Yeah, a lot of places are pretty upset with our government. However, you'll notice that our militancy is actually going, well, it's going up, but every time a mass revolt happens, all of our most militant peoples, you know, stop being so militant in a sense. So that's good. It looks as though a siege is underway. The Russian capital may be falling fairly soon. They are an absolute monarchy, and let's see, communists on one side, communists on the other side, and it's probably going to be communists. Now, it isn't entirely ideal that communists are taking over the Russian Empire, but it happens. Spain apparently has some rebels. It looks as though they're fascists, however, the absolute monarchist government of Spain will take care of that for us. Now, as long as we make it to the very end without America annexing all of their states. That'll be pretty great. Apparently, Russia wasn't a great power for a while, and Belgium had been. I guess that's, sorry, Belgium, you're no longer a great power material. Let's see. The Republic of Britannia is number 2, based mainly off their industry score. They're currently being sieged out, I would assume, most likely by Jacobins. It is, in fact, Jacobins. If we look over, the United States is boringly a republic again. It looks as though the British held direct control of Canada up to this very point. Mexico's a democracy. We are all of Africa. Isn't that cool? Apparently someone just took French Guiana. Who was it? It was the Dutch. Let's see. So the French fascist dictatorship, the British are going to become a democracy, the Spanish absolute monarchy, the Germans are a democracy with a liberal party in charge, Austria is a kingdom with a fascist ruling party, Hungary is a fascist dictatorship, Romania, a regular government run by fascists, Poland has liberals because they're actually pretty happy with how the world's going for them. Let's see, socialist Sweden, we'll see where Russia goes, and I guess that'll just be an interesting little thing, probably, almost certainly communist. Although we can't actually tell from this perspective. China, still a fascist dictatorship. It looks as though they were able to re-establish their party's rule and take back their southern territories. Japan, interestingly, colonized Vietnam. They are conservatives and a monarchy. So I guess pretty standard thing for Japan to do and stay. And alright, we do have a rebel just sort of there. It looks as though we have just the most absurd army piled up in Africa. I guess that isn't too terribly surprising. We'll just move it slightly over. This group, we will, let's see, we'll just go pick up some weird portion of an army somewhere. We'll just grab these guys. We will leave this 54 stack to be picked up, and that'll go split in half and take care of these rebels. Ooh, Italian anarcho-liberals have risen up basically everywhere. Not so much in Europe, though, so that's kind of nice. We'll have this group automatically hunt rebels. This group we will split in half, and each half will go hunt rebels just on its own. Hunt rebels. Hunt rebels. Hunt rebels. Everyone's got a job to do in the fascist ruling party Italy. Lazy natives need to adapt. We may as well antagonize them, as we are living in a fairly antagonistic era. And alright, so as these final days and months tick on, we are in the massive series of rebellions phase of the game, which is luckily not that long of a phase, actually. I mean, it could have been a fairly long and troubling time if it had happened, you know, really earlier at all. Luckily it didn't, so it isn't. And yeah. If that had happened during the darkest period of our massive global war where we established dominance over the world, then that would have been a pretty bad thing. And everything's just ticking on through. So I would say this was definitely a very great thing for us. We lost a bit of prestige because we didn't actually get all of our war demands, although that doesn't really matter. We still have tons of prestige. I'm going to see who has the second most prestige in the world. It's the Germans with about 500. So we've got around 3,000 more prestige than the runner-up, and that's pretty good. It seems as though Romania or someone declared war against the Poles, which is interesting. Who was it, in fact? It is Romania. What could Romania possibly want from Poland? Romanian conquest of Roven Where is that? Probably... Alright, come on. Let's get rid of the ringleaders. We're going to have to start taking a bit more brutal of an outlook on these sorts of things. Alright, so they don't even have any claims on, or any cores on Poland anymore. They just want to rove up into Rovian, which will look kind of gross. Hopefully they don't manage to succeed in that before the end of the game. Although they are actually marching forward into it. We've only got a couple months left. And most of our rebels have been defeated by our armies just roving around taking care of everything. So yeah, this has been a very good game, I would say. We've left the Ottoman Empire, not quite where they are historically. They do have Iraq still, which is kind of a sad little bummer, but we did manage to take Constantinople and their Aegean Islands, which I would say kind of makes up for it. They can keep Iraq. Hopefully it won't be too relevant. I really wish the Iraqi nationalists would have gotten their way. That would have been the most ideal thing. And honestly, I still do wish that we would have fully been able to annex Iraq, or the Ottoman Empire. Unfortunately, it just does not appear as though it was meant to be this time around. We ultimately did go ahead and prove our just incredible superiority to the world, which is great. And, you know, not really anything to be sad about. We did a good job. We are the most populous country in the world by far. We have an entire continent that is just ours forever. We are now the masters of India, with so large of a troop presence that will probably stay that way just forever. I don't imagine anyone will be able to shear India from us. And yeah, moving forward, what we're going to do is just make a time lapse out of the next 100, 200 years. I hear that oh no, the Russian Empire declared war on Ukraine. Well, we don't have to sit and watch that. For us, the struggle is over. This campaign, this last 100 years of the Papal Italian project, has come to a close. We have reshaped the world. We'll go ahead and save the game. I guess just time-lapse save. And yeah, that's basically it. With this save, we're very much just done. We'll go ahead and get to the resign screen, which is always a very interesting screen. And there we have it. Our Papal Italian state, #1 in the world, 11,300 score. Runner-up is America with 3,500. The Republic of Britannia, Japan, the North German Federation, Australia, the Netherlands, and the Russian Empire. Secondary powers are Belgium, France, Sweden, Hungary, Spain, China, Mexico, and Bavaria. Ultimately, I would think the strangest appearance is Australia as a great power, especially with such a low score. It's always interesting. There are two types of Victoria 2 campaigns. There's a type of campaign where... how do I put this? There's the type of campaign where the winner has something like 20,000 score, 30,000 score, and the runners-up have amazing scores. And then there are worlds like ours, where the primary country has a somewhat high score, and the rest of the world is just incredibly low. And I guess you could argue that the ideal endgame would be to be first with a tremendous score among other countries with tremendous scores, as you would be able to say that it's just a much better world. Maybe we're not there. I'm not entirely sure just how high scores in this game usually are, and I guess you could say I play this a bit militaristically. At any rate, let's take a look at ideologies. 19% fascist, 6% anarcho-liberal, 26% liberal, 6% communist, 23% socialist, 7% conservative, and 8% reactionary. Our people are primarily laborers in all of the factories, followed by farmers and craftsmen, interestingly enough. So that is a lot of people who are still craftsmen. I imagine that's maybe in Africa, but who really knows? Let's take a look at the ledger, just because we can. So yeah, the most population, most factories, or provinces and factories. Literacy is alright. Most brigades by far. Brazil in second, Ireland in third. Interesting. Ireland probably just due to how many people were rebellious. Not high in ships though. Britannia, Japan, and the Netherlands have beat us there. What else should we look at? Province production. Freetown in Sierra Leone is the highest income province, so that's neat. And that's ours, so cool. Factory production. The biggest factory is in Lazao. The highest income is in Lombardia. The lowest income is in Campania. Highest output is in Campania. And lowest output's really anywhere. Highest level factory is in Lazao. It's also the one with the most employed. That makes sense. Alright, so thank you very much for following me on this journey. I'm really tempted to do a Hearts of Iron campaign next, as that does seem pretty interesting, and I'm not sure. The next campaign will start on Monday, and it'll follow the same Monday through Saturday cycle as this one has. Hopefully, since I have a few days before we need to get that out, I'll be able to meet the 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time deadline throughout. So yeah, thank you very much again for following, and I'll get the time lapse out tomorrow. Have a great day. It was a fun ride.